Hi folks, how's it going? This is Most Amazing Top 10. You guys probably already know that, but what you might not know is that this video is about the top 10 big company logo changes. Actually, you would have seen the title, so you probably did know that. Anyway, we're going to be talking about some of the biggest companies on the planet and how their logos have changed and evolved over the years. For example, did you know that this used to be the Most Amazing Top 10 logo, but then we realized that using the number 10 would make a lot more sense. Coming in at number 10, we've got Mercedes-Benz. It all started in 1902 when they were like, Mercedes, yeah! Then they were like, okay, maybe no words. Okay, maybe one word. Benz. No way, I don't like Benz. How about just Mercedes? Yeah, no, that's bad, that's bad. How about both? Mercedes, Benz, yeah. No, just get rid of them. I hate words. Words are bad. Maybe not, but no, I was right, get rid of it. And finally, this is the logo they decided on today, but by the time you watch this, who knows, maybe they put one or both words back in. Indecisive Benz. At number 9, here's the latest Pepsi logo, but check out the first one from 1898. It looks like I wrote it. And this bit is supposed to say cola, but I think it looks more like cork. Anyway, things got a bit more recognizable as time went on, and we can see here, and they eventually got their modern logo from the 50s bottle cap. Personally, out of all of them, I think the 50s one is the best, like if you're born in the wrong generation. Moving on to number 8 now, guys, we've got Mozilla Firefox, but their original logo was a bit more of a fire phoenix. Here it is back in 2002, but by the following year it had changed to the familiar fox hugging the earth logo that everyone knows. Except by 2004 they had made the continents slightly brighter, and then in 2009 they made them a bit brighter still, and I think they figured out it was just too bright or something, because in 2013 they made it darker than ever to the point where you can't even see anything. I just hope they didn't pay someone too much to redesign that logo. So what ideas have you got? We're always excited for big logo changes here at Firefox. Slightly brighter. What? Yeah, make it slightly brighter and then slightly less brighter in a few years, trust me. Okay. At number 7 now, guys, we have got Starbucks, and did you know that the woman in the logo is actually a siren? That's sort of a mythical mermaid. If you can't see it, then the original 1971 logo might help. There's her 2 scaly fishtails and partial nudity, which they covered up in 1987 with her own hair. Then they made it green in 1992, and by 2011 the writing was gone altogether. And if you're wondering what Starbucks has to do with mermaids, then the company was founded in Seattle, which used to be famous for ships and sailors and the sea and apparently half-naked mermaids. At number 6, would you believe me if I told you this was the Apple logo back when the company was founded in 1976? That guy is Sir Isaac Newton, sitting below the famous apple tree. Then they simplified the logo to this, which I'm sure all of you guys recognize. And it stayed the same shape since. All it did was change colors a few times, from rainbow and then to black, and finally they settled on monochrome, which is what you guys will recognize today. Interesting bonus fact for you guys, they put the bite into the apple so that you would know it was an apple and not a tomato. And even the word byte was a play on megabytes and gigabytes. I like bonus facts. Do you guys like bonus facts? We should do more bonus facts. At number 5 now, we couldn't mention Pepsi in this video without mentioning Coca-Cola, and I'm still not sure why I say it like that. So this was their first logo back in 1886, and can I just say how boring but also very modern this one looks. That thing was made over 130 years ago, and it kinda looks like the Most Amazing Top 10 logo. Are we gonna get sued? Soon after, they adopted the font that we know today. It literally hasn't changed since then, except for 2 years in the 80s where they changed it to Coke. But I think they realized that the name Coke reminds people a bit too much of another addictive product that people just can't get enough of. At number 4, we've got the most painful toy in the world to step on. It's Lego. In 1939, this was what they were using, mainly on the wooden toys they were making, but then in the 50s, they started making plastic toys, and this was their cool new logo to go with it. And I honestly think that logo is so cool. I wish they still had it. I might very seriously get that on a t-shirt. Throughout the 1950s they started developing the whole white font on a red background thing until in 1973 they started to produce and distribute their own products in the US, and so they released this logo that most of you guys will recognize today. The logo might have changed over the years, but how much pain you feel when you stand on them hasn't. And I know I've mentioned it twice now, but that's how much it hurts, yeah. Alright, on to number 3, and we've got giant camera company Canon. I mean, they're a big company. They don't make cameras for giants, I think. In 1933, camera repairman Goro Yoshida founded the company in Japan, and he named it after the Buddhist goddess for mercy, Kwannon. And this was their first logo for the Kwannon camera, featuring the goddess herself. But by 1935, they had renamed it to Canon, and at first the logo looked like it had been drawn freehand by a 5-year-old. I'm sorry Canon, but it's true. Over the years, they balanced out the lettering to what everyone knows today. But on their website, they say that whole process was a painstaking effort. Like, really? Really? Chill out. At number 2 now, we're going to take a look at KFC, and I personally think this is all about a battle between a man and some letters. In 1952, the Colonel was just a tiny little face next to the bold Kentucky Fried Chicken writing. By the way, that's meant to be his tie, apparently. I thought it was his arms and legs at first, but apparently not. Then in 1978, the Colonel was still fighting for space in the logo, and their company's name was still refusing to be shortened until 1991. The Colonel was still tiny then, but at least the letters were his own size by now. By 1997, the battle of the logo space was won by the Colonel. In 2006, we finally get the logo that everyone knows today, with the tiny writing being relegated to the Colonel's shoulder. In reality, the word was shortened to just 3 letters because people associated the word fried with unhealthy eating. But I much prefer the story of a tiny man taking on big writing. Alright guys, we've looked at some of the largest companies in the world, but now we're going to take a look at the biggest internet company on the planet. It is, of course, Google at number 1. Google tested their first logo back in 1997, and it looked pretty, well, flat. When they officially launched the next year, they had this, which looks a lot more recognizable. Then they quickly turned the G blue and added an exclamation mark to make it look like Yahoo. And then by 1999, they had dropped the exclamation logo and launched this version of their logo. They spent the next 17 years since then twiddling with the G's and tweaking the colors a little bit. Until on September the 1st, 2015, they released this. Now this is the current logo for Google at the minute, unless they might have changed it if you're watching this a year from now. Personally, I hope they change that O, because that is just an ugly color. I didn't even have an opinion on logos before I made this video, and now I'm nitpicking at the colors. What's happening? Alright folks, what do you think of these logos? Out of the ones we've talked about, do you prefer any of the older versions of them? And also, do you want to see a part 2? We can do that for you, because trust me, I found so many companies like the ones we've talked about that have changed their logos so much over the years. Until we do that, or until we don't do it, because it's whatever you guys want, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and if you just want to keep watching more and more most amazing top 10 videos, well, you can do that right now by clicking those 2 floating boxes that I can't see right now, but you guys can. Click on them right now and you can keep watching. In the meantime, thanks as ever for watching most amazing top 10. My name's Danny Burke, you can follow me on Instagram down there, and I hope you guys have a most amazing day.